Hello, welcome to a light bulb moment video or video conference call. I don't know what we really want to call it. We've got Mike here and we've got Joe, and
Hi.
hello, and we've just been on a TJ Wow webinar, which was all about can you actually facilitate virtual classrooms? Can it actually work? How did you think it went?
Oh, well, I'm a bit biased because I host it and I work a couple of days a month for Training Journal. But if you take that away,
Full disclosure there, full disclosure. Yeah.
yeah, if you take that part away, I think it was great. It was the highest registrations we've had on the TJ Well. It was the most attendees we've had. The chat box was mental. The questions were, we had loads of questions, we didn't get to answer all of them. I could not keep up, and I do this all day every day and I couldn't keep up. It was an awesome conversation, I thought.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. The chat box was definitely on fire. You had three really good speakers. Was it Christina Gadd, Lorna Matty, and Kirsty Lewis, was
Yeah.
it? Um, and they really all brought different things to the table. I think it was really interesting. Just to explain your thought process, why did you have Kirsty Lewis as a guest speaker?
Yeah, so Lorna Matty and Christina Gadd have both done quite a lot of virtual classroom and webinar stuff, and know their staff. They do things in different ways, different audiences. But Kirsty Lewis, as you say, was a little bit more left field because she actually hasn't done a lot of that. I think TJ Wow was her third ever webinar that she'd
Wow.
hosted. Yeah.
Wow.
So talk about,
Okay.
going in at the deep end. She
Yeah,
did a
yeah.
great job. But what I wanted Kirsty to come along as was the voice of somebody who's done loads of face-to-face training, and her organisation, School of Facilitation, is all about making you a better trainer, a better facilitator, but that's focused on face to face. And she's just starting her journey into webinars. And then moving later into virtual classrooms. There is a difference. And I just thought she was the voice of a lot of people who are attending, which is like, well, we've all been on a webinar, some of them really bad, some of them really good, but actually, can you really facilitate online like you can face to face? And she's absolutely at that point of saying, well, I don't know if you can. I know you can do a good webinar, but I don't know that you can facilitate. So I thought that voice, those questions, just even the point of there's so many platforms out there. What on earth do I choose? How do I find
Wow.
out what I want? That is the voice of a lot of people that are coming along. And whilst it's great to have experts, experienced professionals, whatever you want to call us, they're going, yeah, you can do it, you just do this. Having somebody who's actually a little bit more reticent about it, I think was really important, and she did a great job of that.
Yeah, I think she really vocalized what a lot of people had in the chat box, or being nervous, or even not really sure it could actually work.
Yeah.
And like you say, I guess with Lorna and Christina, they do it, so they're always going to say, of course, it can work. So it was interesting to have Kirsty's voice to actually go through and sort of maybe mediate that and actually get a different perspective was really interesting.
And the
But
perspective of, I'm at the beginning of the journey and I'm exploring, oh, I tried this and it kind of worked and I'm happy, as opposed to me going, yeah, it's all amazing. It's a different tone.
yeah, exactly. But I think the tone was something that really surprised me because the actual title of the webinar was, can it work? Because there's a lot of skeptics out there. It's really still quite a fresh, new thing that people don't truly understand. Maybe they've been on a bad webinar and think, well, you can never run a virtual classroom. But what was really interesting is the fact that we seem to quickly, in the first sort of 5 minutes, it seemed to be covered that yes, you can run virtual classrooms, and then the rest of the session seemed to be how well it can be run, and to some extent how it can be better than face to face at certain areas. And I thought that was really amazing that
Yeah.
we'd started here, and within minutes we were, we'd got to this point. I mean, just how did you feel that evolved and went?
Yeah, I agree with you because I thought there would be more people questioning how good it can be
Yeah.
rather than, and maybe they did in the chat and I missed those bits. Maybe I filtered those out because I didn't want to see them. But
It was a really busy chat.
it
There was
was.
a lot there was a lot going on.
And I think people were genuinely interested in, can you really facilitate? Can you actually have as good as a face-to-face collaboration and conversation in a virtual classroom? And a lot of the questions that were coming through either the chat or the question pod, certainly the ones that I saw and was trying to deal with, were around, well, how can you make it this engaging? How can you get the trainers involved? How do you get senior managers to sign off on it? And looking at, well, how could I do this? How could I do that? And really exploring, well, just how good can you make it? And how can you make it like what I do face to face, which is probably pretty amazing. And so the fact that they weren't just going, nah, you can't, but going, okay, how can we dive deep into this and really do it well? That's the bit that was just brilliant.
Yeah, I think Christina Gadd had a really good comment at one point where she said that you can focus sometimes even better in the virtual classroom because you can have sort of multiple people talking at the same time. Whereas if you had that in a classroom, you'd be saying, everyone stop talking, you don't speak over the teacher or whatever. Whereas you can actually have those private conversations, you can have the group chat going on, and then you can focus back on it, and it's all written there. You can all go back and actually see what aspects of that you can either ignore or actually add value to the classroom. Yeah. And I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, it's one of those things with the virtual classroom. In some ways, you can get more done. You can have more conversation because more can happen at once. You're absolutely right. If you go around 20 people in a classroom and say, what's your opinion of this? And they talk for 30 seconds or a minute or 2 minutes because, we all have those people you can't shut up, which is usually me.
No comment.
Thanks. So, if you had 1 minute per attendee for 20 minutes, for 20 people, that's 20 minutes. And is that the right use of time? Yeah, maybe. Great, go ahead. Maybe that's really valuable and that's what you should be doing. In a virtual classroom, what you could do is you could have everybody typing on a whiteboard or a chat window, or if your software allows it, 2 chat windows or 4 chat windows or 4 sections of a whiteboard. And that's without even going into the kind of breakouts and stuff. But then what you can do that for 2 or 3 minutes. Everybody type these 2 sections, 4 ideas, whatever it might be. And then you have that time to go, okay, let's look at these in turn and pull out the bits that are useful and interesting and we can explore more. Because a lot of the time when we have 20 people wanting to say something, a lot of it's going to be the same, or they build off each other, or you spark an idea from someone. So by having that in a chat window and somebody goes, oh, blah, 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 point 1, somebody else can go, oh, well, I was going to say that, so I will extend that. Or actually you get 2 or 3 people typing something similar. So you go, yeah, 3 points together, brilliant. And you've got that voice there. You haven't had to hear it 3 times over 3 minutes, if that makes sense, just to give it a measurement and a number that we can see in a bit more concrete fashion.
Yes, certainly. I think it really highlighted the aspect of how it can be different to face-to-face, and also sometimes maybe even potentially better than face-to-face. And I think Lorna also, she said a really interesting thing, which really resonated with me, was the fact that a previous company that she'd worked for, and she was the one who kind of sold virtual classrooms as cost-saving, travel expense, blah, 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 blah. But actually the company really saw the sort of commercial viability from it and started using virtual classrooms for team meetings and lots of different things. And I think that really showed you how, if a company can actually see the benefit, the efficiency savings, being commercial viable, it can really take off, and it's sort of, you can do whatever you want to do with it. I mean, have you seen that companies have done different things or gone beyond your expectations of what they were going to do?
Absolutely. And it's one of those technologies and platforms that you can take and you can run with. And I was talking to somebody recently, actually, and they said, oh, well, we tried webinars and we didn't like them. And actually what it was is they did one public webinar really badly. And it's just like, well, if you put no effort into it and no marketing, you're going to have no one register, less people turn up, and you're not going to do something really well, then of course it's not going to work. But then at the other end of the scale, you get exactly what Lorna's describing, which is you use it for a certain thing and it just grabs momentum, and all of a sudden people go, oh, so I could use that to meet with each other. We can have collaboration with my team across whatever geography that might be, and actually work on documents together. We can brainstorm ideas. I can do meetings. I can roll this training out to people all around the world. And it's not just about the cost saving. It's then about doing it really well. It's then about the time saving and increasing the performance and the collaboration. So yeah, absolutely.
And there was one thing I just want to quickly mention also, because it was in the same sentence what Lorna said, and she said that before they had virtual classrooms, there was almost sort of a class divide where, because of the expense of travel to here, a hotel for 2 days, whatever it was only sort of senior managers, top end people that actually got this training. But by going into the virtual environment, all of the lower end staff could then get that, and they are potentially the people who really needed it. So it's really interesting that virtual classroom, you know, from starting off as, oh, okay, we'll do it to save money, has then really changed the whole dynamic of a company, and I that's what I find really amazing going forward.
Yeah, and that's really then the learning culture that's available to everyone, rather than, as you say, saving it for senior management and those where they think they're getting the most investment and bang for their buck. But actually, as you say, everybody needs development opportunities. So I think that was absolutely awesome that it was a business tool, I think is the term that Lorna used. It wasn't just a learning tool, and that's where L&D should be going.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, to wrap up, I thought the webinar was really great. I hope that, because there were so many questions, there were so many things going on, I hope that you guys will do another webinar, because it looks like there needs to be a follow-up for that. There's so many people engaged and interested in it. But of course, that's down to you, whatever you guys want to do. But yeah, no, I thought it was absolutely great. Any last things from you about how it went?
Yeah, I was over the moon. I mean, the TJ webinars are always great discussions, great speakers, great people, great involvement. And this one just took it to a whole other level. I was mightily impressed with everybody involved. And if that's the way the TJ webinars go, from strength to strength, that's awesome. If it happened to be about this topic, then yeah, let's explore it a bit more and see what we can do.
Definitely a topic close to your heart. Well, this has been a great conversation. Thanks, Jo, and I'm Mike. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.